So obviously you've been very successful in your auditions. You were, a horn player with Syracuse for 10 years before coming to the Met. So how would you say you really prepare for your auditions?
Well, it's a little known fact, I think, that most people don't know when they go into music, is that not everybody wins a job their first audition. They don't, say, okay, I'm ready, I'm gonna win this job. A lot of us, it took many, many auditions. I think when I got the Syracuse job, I was already auditioning. It was in my master's in doctoral work. And I'd already been taking, I probably could take 10 or 15 auditions at that point. And with every audition, you figure out, okay, how do I tweak this? What can I do better? What surprised me? And what can I do to anticipate any kind of curveballs? So with every audition, it's kind of, as one of my teachers, Vern Reynolds, used to say, another brick in the wall of experience. You kind of build that wall and figure out, okay, this is what I need to do to make myself as strong as possible. So that was part of it, because you can learn a lot of the technical stuff in your practice room and listen to recordings and do things like that. But a lot of it is, I really encourage everyone, my students included, before you take an audition, whether it's for graduate school or for an orchestra, play for people. Play for people who love you and support you, so you have a good, comfortable experience. And then record yourself so that you have a better feeling, or a better idea of exactly, where your strengths are and where you need to brush things up. So personally, aside from the background information of my own personal path to auditions, it's different for every person in terms of how much time you need. But basically, you take a look at the audition list that's provided, and you categorize it, or at least I do, and that's what I've been taught to do, is prioritize, okay, which excerpts are the most difficult for me? And then which ones are, like they could use some practice, some woodshedding, and then, oh, these are ones it'll take me no time to nail. And you break those categories down, and then you try and the ones that you can do pretty efficiently, you don't have to, focus on those as much. And so I might maybe touch on them once a day, once every other day. And at the beginning of my prep, which is about usually 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time, I'll look at the most difficult ones, and those are the ones I'll spend the majority of my time on, to really break them down, do them slowly, do them slurred, with the metronome, with the tuner, recording it, being very, very, very thorough. Putting those excerpts aside and moving some others in, and then start shifting them. And then about 2 weeks before an audition, I'll start drawing excerpts, where I'll write all the excerpts down on pieces of paper, and I'll draw them out of a bowl or something. Having to just play what's put in front of me, so that when you get into context, you won't see the 5 toughest excerpts and freak out, because you've already done it. That, in addition to also making sure that I work out on a regular basis, I'm eating really well, I'm getting at least 8 hours of sleep, and drinking a lot of water. Just, you want to be in your best physical shape.
Now, you mentioned recording yourself a minute ago. How do you go about recording yourself and listening back? Is it its own dedicated thing, or do you do it throughout your practice session?
Especially for an audition, I will record it at the beginning, just to kind of see, okay, where am I? What have I retained? And what still needs improvement? And then it depends on what's sticky. If it's a rhythmic thing that I'm rushing or something, I might be more prone to record it a little bit more often. Like, I'll practice it with the metronome a couple times and then put the recording on and see, okay, how's that without the metronome? Am I getting anywhere? On other things, I'll just set aside, 10 minutes per excerpt to work on it, and then I'll tape it again and see, okay. And then if there's still sticky things, then I'll try and work it out. It just kind of depends on what the issues are that I'm grappling with. to determine how often I'm going to record myself, because you don't want to make yourself insane. And sometimes you just need to let things percolate.
Now, how do you stay motivated through your daily grind, getting ready for an audition, or if you're preparing for some big recital or something like that?
A lot of it is just the challenge of it all, and trying to remain curious. I think a trap that we tend to fall into is being so self-critical and defeatist that we forget the big picture of why we do this. And so I try, and when I'm preparing for a recital or I'm preparing for an audition, try to find what I love about each excerpt. And I also will do a lot of mental practice. I'll go to the gym and I'll listen to excerpts, and then I'll turn the excerpts off. And as I'm on the treadmill, or if I'm on the VersaClimb, whatever it is, or if I'm swimming, I'll go through it in my head and hear it. And if I'm not swimming, I'll use the fingerings and finger as I'm on the treadmill or whatever, just so that it all becomes kind of a constant positive loop in my head. And seeing myself perform well, and hearing how I want it to go well, and feeling, that this is going to be so great, and I love how this feels, and I love playing this music, and it's going great. So that's a lot of positive reinforcement that keeps you motivated, and it's like, okay, I was having trouble with this yesterday, but it's this much better today. And I think keeping a practice journal also helps keep you motivated, because you're reminding yourself, okay, this is where I started, and look how far I've come, and this is, oh, look, now I'm just worked on this little bitty part, but I've figured out how to fix this technical problem. So I think it's just the curiosity, being curious, always approaching an audition with the mindset of how much better can I get, as opposed to I need this job. Of course we all need a job, or of course we all want to get into our dream school. But if you can kind of keep perspective of why, we are in music, what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is to be able to play with as much ease and facility and joy as possible, and share that with everyone. And it's a gift, and for us and for our audience. So for us to be able to, see the big picture as opposed to the, I've got so much to do, or, I'm not, good enough. Everybody's on a different path. Everybody has different stages in their career. So just enjoy the journey and enjoy the challenge of it all.
So whenever you're practicing, what does your ideal practice day look like? Do you split it up in a lot of different sections? How do you do that?
I do. In general, I try and split up my practice sessions to, depending on rehearsal schedule and whatnot. I try and split it up into 3 different sessions, hour. And the closer you get to an audition, I may shorten them and do more shorter sessions, so that you kind of get used to doing a heavy load in a shorter amount of time. Of course, as you know, auditions usually might be 10 minutes long. So you kind of want to get used to that concentration time, just being able to pick it up, when you're hungry, or, oh my gosh, I just had this huge rehearsal. Let me just see what it feels like when I'm tired, without, being mindful, of course, that you don't want to hurt yourself. But just say, okay, I'm going to pick these 3 excerpts, even though I've just had this 3-hour rehearsal. Let me just see what happens. I'm going to go into a practice room, pretend that this is the audition. Boom. It's like 5 minutes, maybe. But again, you're challenging yourself in a lot of different situations, so that, again, because no audition is ever going to go like you think it's going to go, in terms of, things are going to be on time always. You're always going to have access to water. You're always going to, have ample warm-up time. You're going to have a warm-up room. None of these things are a guarantee. To be able to break up your practice in a similar way, so that you can take whatever comes your way without being rattled, I think is essential to the preparation.
Now, in these different sessions you have, do you devote, the first session of the day is to your warm-up and fundamentals?
Yes.
Now, do you plan out which fundamentals you're going to do each day and rotate through the week, or do you do all the fundamentals every single day?
Well, I'm kind of a creature of habit. So I do the same warm-up every day. Now, if I have something else coming along where I really need to, again, concentrate on a certain area, like
High horn or low horn?
Yeah, exactly. Or, rings coming up, I've got to build up my endurance. Or, I've got a lot of Rossini, so I've got to really work on my multiple tonguing, which I'm still working on. Definitely plays a part in terms of, how I amend my daily practice. Because I do. I practice the Carmine Caruso method. And so a lot of my exercises are Caruso based in the morning, and then I do my père scales, I do coproche, just kind of daily maintenance that, not everybody loves, but not everybody likes to do the dishes, but you have to do it.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the Caruso method. Can you talk briefly about that?
Yeah, that method is, I learned from Julie Landsman, my teacher in grad school, who I still consider to be a mentor. And she studied with Carmine Caruso directly, who was a saxophone player. And he developed, his method is based on efficiency in terms of timing and kinesthetics, how your body and your support and your air and timing, subdivision, all tie in to give you the most accurate and efficient way to play. She has these wonderful videos up on julielandsman.com that you can see the demonstrations of all of the exercises that she teaches and that I teach as well. And she also has the music printouts that give you a better idea of exactly what the method is about. But in essence, it does involve tapping your foot, which is somewhat controversial. But again, that's part of the kinesthetic, so that everything is coordinated and your whole body is involved. It is just a kinesthetic coordination of air, support, and timing. And it just provides a very firm foundation for how you execute your playing.
So you cited Julie Landsman's website
Yes.
As a resource for this. Are there any other resources people can go check out Caruso?
For me, I'm unaware of them. I'm sure they probably are, but what I like about Julie's resource is that she goes into very big detail, and since she literally was a student of Carmine Caruso, I feel like she's better able to articulate and describe and explain the methodology, because I think before these videos happened, there were a lot of misconceptions about Caruso, and that you can hurt yourself, and that, and you can if you don't do them properly, which is why, again, I like to refer people to her website, because it's very thorough. She has a daily schedule in terms of, over a 6 or 8 week plan, which exercises to do when, so that you aren't doing 10 Caruso exercises and wonder why you can't play the next day. So, so that's why I like to refer to the website, because she has the videos, the music, and everything is demonstrated.
It's all well laid out.
Yeah.